He said, "You who are sovereign in strength, judge with mildness, and with great forbearance you govern us. For you have power to act whenever you choose." You have power to act whenever you choose. Through such works, you have taught your people that the righteous man must be kind, and you have filled their sons with good hope because you give repentance for sin. I would like you to pay attention. A man called St. Augustine was observing a little child, and the little child was playing tantrum. You know the way little kids struggle, fight. Maybe when you collect a toy from the little baby, the way the baby will struggle and fight for it and start playing tantrum. So Augustine was observing this in a little child. And then it dawned on him that probably, or perhaps, when he was a child, he might have behaved in that manner. And then he said that observing that child, he realized that every human being has a disposition for evil, a will for evil. Rather, what that child lacked at that moment was the power or the opportunity to do what? To accomplish the evil. But as for having the will and disposition, the way that little baby was fighting and struggling and playing tantrum, give that little baby power to bear his or her anger. And you will see her. You will see her. There are many of us who are so gentle, so kind, so that is any so approachable, so calmly. That is everything about them is just goodness. Then one day the person assumes a position of power and authority, and the person transforms into a monster. And you'll be asking yourself, what happened to this sweet, gentle soul? What became of his good manners, of his attractive disposition? What has changed? Nothing changed. The weakness has been there, the disposition has been there. It only needed power, it only needed position for that weakness to be activated. You may not know how terrible you are. You may not know how such a monster you are. You may not know how wicked you can be until you assume a position of power and authority. That is when you will know the kind of person you are. Yeah. Shakespeare will say, they could be meek, they have no other cause. A wretched soul breathes with difficulty, will be quiet. You see some people, they will just look so subdued, so calm, so relaxed. They don't even seem to have the strength for battle or war. Forget it. It is merely that the person hasn't gotten an opportunity. Anything the person will have an opportunity, the kind of mayhem the person will unleash on people around him, you begin to wonder, what has happened to this person? Nothing happened to that person. And that is why I want you to pay attention. You are young, but tomorrow you will find yourself in positions of power and authority. Be careful. Now, the reading we read this morning from the book of Wisdom, the person who wrote this was contemplating on the majesty of God. Such an immense power, such a mighty God, the sovereign deity, who is not answerable to any power in the universe and beyond. The God who has so much power that nobody can question the genuineness of his justice. Nobody can say you have acted on who is under which principle and system are you going to measure God? He is the determinant of justice. He is the determinant of morality. He decides what is right and what is wrong. And then God has so much power at his disposal that he can trample on us, deal with us as it pleases him. Now, do you know what? The surprising thing this person discovered about this God, that despite this immense power, despite this majesty, God has this disarming compassion, this disarming disposition for love and compassion. That was what marveled this person. I'm telling you, nobody here among you listening to me who will have that kind of power tomorrow and you be gentle about it is not possible. Read history, read about men who have held positions of authority and power. Kai, it's always a story about tyranny, dictatorial disposition, name it. We have seen a lot of this in history play out. So if there's anything we have to learn today, it is for us to know that every one of us has a disposition for unimaginable wickedness. The only thing that that disposition is waiting for is the power to activate it. Because one day you may even be surprised at yourself. What happened to me? David couldn't believe himself. David was a man after God's own heart, very gentle, the shepherd boy, beautiful and attractive. But it was David who became a king and took another man's wife, the wife of Uriah, took Bathsheba. To know that he slept with Bathsheba. After sleeping with Bathsheba, he brought the husband and wrote a death sentence and handed over to the husband and told the husband, take this letter, go and give it to Joab, the chief warrior in the battlefield. When Uriah handed the letter to Joab, Joab opened the letter. What the king wrote there was, put Uriah in the thickest part of the war where he will be killed. Joab did not question the order of the king. Immediately he put Uriah the thickest part of the battle, and that day Uriah became a dead man. There was no place where David was tried for that. But when Prophet Nathan confronted him and said, David, look at what you did. David fell prostrate on the ground and said, have mercy on me in your kindness. In your compassion brought out my. It was when David was saying this prayer, he said, remember a sinner was I conceived. A sinner, even right from when I was in my mother's womb, I had always been a terrible person. So David has always been that way. It only needed the position and the power that comes from being a king to unleash that animal disposition, that base instinct that has been lying in him. So the message I'm telling you today, always know you that there is a demon lurking in you. There is a devil lurking within, waiting for an opportunity that power can bring, that position of authority can bring to bear its pangs. Now tomorrow, if you begin to surprise yourself, don't be surprised. It has been there. And trust me, it is not money that brought it. It is not power that brought it. It has always been there. It only activated it. Now, if you know that this is possible, you become conscious. So what the consciousness will do for you is simply this. You know that I have deep in me a disposition for unimaginable evil. And because I know I have this, I should be very careful. So that even when I have power or money, I will not allow the dark angel of my nature to betray me or put me in a very negative light. If you read Psalm 8, the psalmist made a very inspiring statement. When he was contemplating on the power of God, the psalmist said, when I look at the moon, the stars, and all the things which you arranged, the immensity and the majesty of your power, and then I begin to ask myself, who is man that will keep him in mind? A mortal man will think about him. How can a God who is so immense, so majestic, how can God have thought about ordinary man? Who are you? And that is the attitude of many people. There are people of power and authority, people of means, that whenever you come into their midst, you will feel your utter wretchedness. That is, you will feel diminished, you will feel dehumanized, you will feel like nothing, worthless in their presence. There are people like that. Whenever you are in their presence, you feel your worthlessness. If the person wants to talk to you, you will see condescension at play to tell you you are of no match to my status. My talking to you It's a privilege to you. I'm even talking to you. But that is not the mark of true greatness. I think Mahatma Gandhi said it. Now, a true great man makes every people around him feel great. A true great man makes every people around him feel great. And I don't know the person who said that if you want to measure the character of any man or woman, if you want to measure the character of any man or woman, he said it. Two things. That is the real index of a man's character. Two things. First, how he treats those who can never fight back, the powerless, the weak, the vulnerable, who can never fight back. The second one, how he treats those who can never do him any good, who can never have opportunity to reward your goodness to them. Whenever you achieve these two qualities, you have attained the mark of a good person. And then Shakespeare will say, abuse of greatness is to separate remorse from power. When you exercise power without compassion, without remorse, you become a tyrant. You become a dictator. That is abuse of greatness. So, as for attaining position of authority tomorrow, it is certain. It goes without saying that many of you here listening to me will become CEO of companies tomorrow, managers of institutions tomorrow, highly placed professionals, well accomplished business tycoons. I'm not, I'm not making a prophetic, I'm just saying it's a statement of fact. Want to say amen? Fine. But the point I'm trying to say is this: always remember that there is a terrible disposition for evil that lurks in your nature. Always remember this. And once you remember this, let it make you to become conscious. Because power can be very intoxicating. Power can be very intoxicating. Nothing beats the feeling of sitting in one place and dishing out orders and instruction to people. Nothing beats it. And people will dance attendance to your authority. Everybody will be cowering before your presence. And then you feel on top of the world. It happens that way. They always know. The only way people will admire you is to have such power, and yet deep within you there is this disarming disposition for compassion, love, and kindness. If you ever attain power and you create a disposition for compassion, that your power, there was a day I witnessed something that got me fascinated. It was a military wedding, and then trust the military people. It was a spectacle of, that is, you need to see military power in full display. Very beautiful. When the couple, the husband and the wife, when they were making their entrance to the podium where a seat has been set for them, to the stage, the military formed a kind of honor guard and then raised their sword and created a kind of canopy with their sword. And then the wife, a slender, fragile young lady, was beside a muscular military officer, the husband. And they were walking like this. And then when I was observing them, what was getting in my mind is such an immense power. And then such a fragile young lady. But the power was not to crush or to destroy, but to protect. That the fragile, slender young lady, in the midst of such power, was offer protection and love. So, is it possible that if your power can create that kind of spectacle, that kind of panoramic attraction, that people will see your power and they are awed and say, wow, such a mighty man. And then you have this disarming disposition for love, for compassion, and mercy. If you ever achieve this, you are good to go. I think that was the encounter Abraham had with God in Genesis. When God threatened to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. You can imagine the mighty God of heaven and earth threatening to unleash fire and brimstone upon Sodom and Gomorrah. Who will dare to question that judgment? But Abraham went to God and said, God, what are you trying to do? Please, stay your rot. Give me permission. Let me go and search and see if I can find 50 good men there. If I find 50 good men there, will you spare them? God told Abraham, no problem, go and find out. Abraham went, searched in vain, and came back and said, I hope my God will not be angry if I come a second time to make this request. Please, don't get angry with me. If I find 40, will you spare this nation? God said, go and find. Abraham went back, searched and searched. In vain, he couldn't find 40. Abraham was reluctant. And he said, I hope my God will not be angry if I make a dead request. I hope my God will not get mad at me. What if I find 30? God said, go and search. If you find 30, I will not. Hey, Abraham went again. After searching for the third time, he couldn't find. If Abraham, will you go back? But Abraham went back and said, I pray my God will not strike me dead. I pray my God will not use what to destroy me. Please, just one more time. If I find 20. Abraham was confident he was going to find 20. He went, he couldn't find 20. Hey, Abraham mustered courage again to approach this God who has power to destroy these two nations with fire and brimstone and say, please, if I find 10, in all the instances of this request, God will say, I will not, I will not, I will not. The Pope who commented on this encounter, the intercessory encounter between Abraham and God, said that dialogue, this intercessory dialogue between Abraham and God, revealed unsearchable depth of the abyss of God's mercy. The mighty God with so much power, the power that can consume a nation. Yet there was this disposition for mercy, even in the midst of that power. So the message of today is this: is it possible that you can attain a power, a status that is so fearful in the eyes of men, that is so scary in the eyes of men, yet create a disposition for kindness, compassion, and mercy? Is it possible? I'm telling you, if we have 100% of successful, powerful people in the world, you can get about 5% who can bring compassion in the exercise of power. I think that was the statement Joe Biden was trying to allude to when he gave his inaugural address. He said, we are going to rule America not by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. Not by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. This statement may sound like the same, but it's not the same. To say the power, example of our power, is to refer to brute force, raw power. A power that once you exercise it, everybody will run away. Like today, it is not in doubt that America has the most powerful military in the world. Very sophisticated. America is the most powerful economy in the world. So if America decides to rule with the example of their power, what we'll be seeing is bombing nations up and down. When they throw bomb in this nation, the world will shudder at the power, at the example of their power. Such a raw power. But when they say we are going to rule by the power of our example, it thinks about compassion, it thinks about a power that is felt by goodness or through kindness, love, and compassion. That is what this person who was reflecting on the book of wisdom was calling our attention to.